report out there that Brett Kavanaugh is named in a police report about an incident that stemmed from drinking and being angry out one night. Do you know anything about this report?
Yes, I do. In fact, I know a great deal about this report.
Tell me.
Well, it all began, that evening began, in fact, I know the date now. I found it in the Hartford Courant program guide for September 1985. And Chris Dudley and Brett Kavanaugh and I went to a UB40 concert. They were a popular reggae band of the 1980s. In any event, at something called the Palace Theater, and it was a Wednesday night, so it was sort of an odd night to be going out, but the concert was a good one. So after the concert, we went to a bar called Demery's, and we were drinking, and I assumed beer, at some point, we looked over at this fellow who looked very similar to the lead singer of UB40, a guy named Ali Campbell. And we kind of give him the eye, looking at this guy, and we're kind of asking, is that really him? Could he be here? And if so, we'll go introduce ourselves and say, great show, and maybe, share a beer with him, whatever. And he saw us looking at him and didn't like the fact that we were looking at them. So he said something like, what the hell are you looking at? And I said, oh, we just thought you were the lead singer of UB40. And he said something fairly aggressive, frankly, I'm not, and screw off, or something to that degree. And at that point, Brett took umbrage at this and threw his beer at the guy. I actually now found out from the report that it wasn't beer, that I had misremembered. It was ice cubes and whatever the drink was that he was drinking. I guess that is, we weren't drinking water, so it must have been some sort of mixed drink. The fellow, says, yeah, Brett said, fuck you, or something to that effect, and threw the ice at the guy. The guy, understandably, even though he had been aggressive in his response, found that was a little one step too far. So he took a swing at Brett, and then they were kind of, two guys fighting. But that was all very quick. And then at that point, Chris Dudley, who had his drink in his hand, proceeded to smash it up against the guy's head. The melee went on very briefly. I don't know what Brett was doing exactly, but I was pulling Chris back, and someone else was pulling the other guy back. And next thing you know, there's some shouting. And I don't know how many minutes it was. It wasn't very many at all, frankly. The police show up, and they look around and ask questions about, who did what. But clearly, the big mistake obviously had been the smashing of the glass against the guy's head. So Chris was put in a squad car and taken down to jail. Brett was questioned, and I was questioned, and I forget exactly how the sequence turned out, but
okay.
The sequence from there. But I then called the coach, and the coach went down to the station and picked up Chris.